Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Angel Academy with Bridget and Mallory. I'm Bridget.
And I'm Mallory.
And in this podcast, we talk all about awakening to your Dharma, or your soul's purpose here on Earth.
As long as we are human, we are in the Angel Academy. The journey of our soul never ends. We hope this podcast can show you some tools to use along your journey of remembrance. Enjoy! Welcome, everyone, to episode 5 of Angel Academy podcast. We so greatly appreciate you coming back yet again. And if this is your first time, welcome. We started with a good episode. You were probably captivated by the title, which is Thriving Through the Shitstorm. So the reason that Bridget and I chose this as a topic is because we are both kind of thriving through our own shitstorms right now. And that's a part of the path, is honoring the shitstorm and just really getting through it, not bypassing anything, not pretending that everything is perfect, just getting through, learning the lesson, and taking the steps necessary to build the life of your, highest dream. So without further ado, we are going to get straight into it, and I'm going to start by telling y'all a little bit about my story, what I'm going through right now, and a little bit about what I've been going through for the past 4 or 5 years since I got on this journey. So enjoy. So I, like most people, like a lot of people, have had an extremely interesting life. I am an empath. I believe it is my superpower. I am a super feeler, and I have been highly, highly, highly sensitive since I was just a little girl, probably a baby, in fact. I came in, I was extremely premature. I don't know if that has anything to do with having sensitivities or whatever, but I know that it's a part of my path of how early I was born, way too early. But I think it gave me a lot of gifts, and I was meant to be on the planet when I was, and so it's kind of a cool thing, and we'll get into that on another episode, I'm sure, when that topic comes back up again. But I am here today, along with Bridget, to tell you about how we are thriving through our own shitstorm, for lack of a better word. We got to have a little bit of comedy when we talk about the struggles of life, and I just love that terminology. And the energy behind it that I hold is not negative. It's funny, it's comedy, and it kind of just makes it a little bit lighter to talk about the very serious things that we are all going through right now, especially right now. So as all of you know, and like we've said a million times before, there's a lot of things going on the planet right now. You can, you guys know. We all know, whether you're woke or not, there's a lot of stuff going on the planet. But there's also a lot of growing and healing that we're doing on personal levels too, on an individual level. We all have our karma that we're burning through, different life lessons, different realizations that are coming up to the surface to be kind of dealt with and met and healed. This life is not what we think it is most of the time. We think it's one way, and then boom, we're kind of hit with something, and it's like, whoa, what? And it seems like, oh, this shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening to me? Or I was on the right path, and then boom, I was taken to a different path or whatever. But the truth is, this life is not one way. And us as humans are not one way either. And we're constantly evolving and constantly growing. And the more karmic debt that we pay off, I don't know if that's really the best way to describe it, but the more that we kind of get through these layers and peel back the layers and learn the lessons that we're meant to learn over and over and over again, we get to a point where our life starts evolving before our eyes in a way that we never ever thought it would. And it can feel really terribly scary, like your life is falling apart. It's like the tower moment, you know, in the tarot deck. Like the tower moment represents your life like a tragedy, basically. Like everything's falling apart, the building's burning, there's lightning striking, there are people falling out of the building, it's all chaos. And it at first glance can seem extremely scary, like, oh, I'll never make it through this, like my life is over. But in reality, your life is just beginning. It's a clean slate. It's you stepping into the power of who you really are. And we have to remember that the universe is never going to set us up for failure. We can't fail. The universe always, 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 always has our back. And the purpose of what's happening is for you to grow and get to know yourself even better on a deeper level and say, oh my God, I got through that? Well, I can get through anything. The universe is setting you up to succeed. And it just feels off-putting and like you're kind of in a war zone for a little bit. But the more like peaceful we can be and calm we can be in the midst of that chaos, the more ease and more grace we can have while we're going through the stuff. But I also want to note that spiritually bypassing is not the answer either. So what Bridget and I both practice is the art of not bypassing the situation, honoring the situation and all that it has, and getting through it with as much grace and dignity as possible, but also knowing that if we freak out and have to like cry in bed for an hour, we're going to do it. If we need to take a day off and just meditate, we're going to do it. Or, you know, like we both tune in and practice like coming back to ourselves and saying, what do I need to do right now? So I'm going to hand it off to Bridget to see if she has anything to add, because I know she does.
Yeah, definitely. Like Mal said, we are in crazy times right now. It is, I've been calling it the collective dark night of the soul. And by that I mean all of our shadow parts are coming to the surface. Everything that we've pushed under the rug for years and years and, you know, generations really is coming to the surface to be healed, to be acknowledged, to be loved. And while it seems like shit is just hitting the fan all over the place day after day after day, it's just like this stuff is coming up to clear, to heal, to be seen. It's here to teach us. It's not here to be our enemy. It's like I feel part of this process and part of the lesson in all of this is learning to look at these situations that the universe is putting before us, to see these situations, these people, these characters who enter our life, who are challenging us, whatever the case, as our allies. They're here to help us. They're here to show us a new angle of something. They're here to help us dissect this situation a little bit deeper so that we can realize, okay, what is this time of my life trying to teach me? And sometimes it takes difficult lessons for us to learn, for us to wake up out of this slumber that we've been existing in for generations. And it's like it goes way deeper than just, okay, I did this a decade ago and now it's coming back, 10 years later. And, no, that's part of it. Yeah. And that's just an example, but like this goes back to our ancestry, things that have literally been encoded in our DNA for lifetimes before we even incarnated in this body as Bridget, as Mallory, as whoever you identify yourself as. But we're not only doing this healing work for ourselves, but we are doing it for our lineage. We are doing it for our ancestors, and we are doing it for the generations that are coming after us. And while you might be thinking, what does any of this have to do with the shitstorm that I'm in right now, with finances or with health or with relationship or whatever, it's all connected. It's all connected, because whether it be a toxic relationship that you're in, I guarantee that did not just start with you. This is something that's been a repeating pattern for generations. Or whether it's a health thing that you're going through, I guarantee this is something that is encoded in your DNA. And while it might not be active in your parents, it could have been an active code in your great-grandmother or whatever. And I guess with all of that to say, whatever situation you're in, you know, the lessons are intense right now. They're more intense than they've ever been. We are repeating cycles that probably seem quite familiar to us now, and we're like, why is this still coming up? I thought I moved past this. Why is it reappearing, you know? And it's like, well, now it's reappearing because now we have this opportunity to be aware, to be conscious of these things when they come up, and to move through these patterns consciously from this higher state of alignment and awareness. And from that place, we have the power to, A, see this as a teacher, as an ally, as a helper. And when we can start to see that, we start to see the blessings in these challenges that we face. And I feel like once you can get to that point, and it might not happen right away, and that's okay. That's why this is a process and it is a journey. But eventually, you just keep showing up to these things again and again and again until you start to see, like, hey, how is this helping me right now? And sometimes it takes removing yourself from the situation, going out into nature, sitting down to meditate, moving your body, however you need to get in that place of alignment and connection with your source to realize this isn't here to destroy me. This is here to help me in some way. And while I might not see it right now, I know that it's here to help me. And just that openness is going to help get you further in that alignment. And from that place, I've been on this path long enough for me to see these challenges that are coming into my life, not only as repeated patterns that I've been going through for years, and it's getting easier to navigate, but I'm also starting to, instead of running from these things, which is what I've done for most of my life, but rather showing up to it and working with it and listening to it and like having a conversation with these elements in my life that are challenging me. It's like that keeps me going. It keeps me like curious, you know, like, okay, while I'm stressed and I'm exhausted and I want nothing more than for this to just be over already, I know that there's something so much greater beyond all of this. And I've seen the glimpses of the light that has been shown to me again and again. And it's because I choose to use this, to use these challenges as my tools to keep going, to keep moving forward. And in that, it's like my curiosity is enhanced, my wandering, that sense of like, what is beyond all of this? Because I know it's fucking grand. I know it because I've seen glimpses of it. And so that just kind of keeps me showing up, even when I feel just like beat and battered. Just that knowing that there's something beyond all of this. Like Mallory was saying, like all of this stuff that's happening is just further aligning us to our purpose, to our dharma, to that which we're going to be helping other people with. And I think most humans can agree we want to help people. That's in our nature. We want to help other people. And if we can be of service in our lifetime, I think that's what everybody wants in some sense, right? Like we want to help. We want to be of service. And it's these experiences that are helping us to best be of to others, to future generations. And it's aligning us with where we're going. And so in that, I don't know, it's kind of flipped the whole script for me, and things that I used to run from, I'm now just really learning to embrace and to say, bring it on. Like, I got this. It's really like increased my confidence and my courage and like within myself to know, like, I'm a badass and I got this, and these challenges don't have anything on me, you know? So yeah, hang in there, guys. We're all in this together. So
yeah, 100%. I agree and can relate like so deeply to all of that. Like especially the running from, like I'm also a runner. Like I've ran from so many things, and we hit on that a little bit in one of our earlier episodes. But yeah, just like facing it makes you so much more confident. Like I feel more secure in my life now than I ever have before. And my life has also been like the craziest. Like I don't have my shit together. Like I do in a sense of like I know my purpose, like I know what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it, but like I look at my life sometimes and I'm like as an outsider, and I'm like, wow, girl, you're kind of a mess. But you know what? I love my messiness. I really, really, really do. I love it so deeply because if I can be messy and still love myself, then that's everything. Because when I was growing up, I got love taken away from me when I was a mess, or when I was depressed or anxious or sad or acting out in a way that I wasn't supposed to, like, which is so common for, like, I mean, so many children. Like, Bridget, I know you can relate to that. Like, you know, if you're not even killed all the time, you're being punished. And, like, that's bullshit, and it causes so much trauma from childhood into adulthood because we do not know that we're okay to act this way. Like, we're supposed to be sensitive. Our sensitivities are good things. It helps us navigate the world. And when I give myself permission to just be me and just be myself, then it kind of makes everything so much more easy, in quotation marks, easy. Simple, I guess, would be the better word. I don't know. It's not easy, but I guess we kind of decide what's easy and what's not. Again, with the Ram Dass quote that I don't remember, but Ram Dass has a saying that basically, like, somewhere along the lines of, like, we decide if it's easy or not. Like, we decide if we want to be on this path or not and how gracefully we want to do it. And you got to make the decision to be on the path or not. And a lot of people choose not. A lot of people want to stay blind to it because it is really, really, really hard. And we do bypass. As humans, I've bypassed so much. Like, the whole, like, positivity movement, like, everything's fine, everything's positive, like, no negative thoughts. Like, no, like, those are okay to have because humans are all traumatized. Every single one of us are traumatized because we come from lineages, like Bridget was talking about, lineages, and I'm talking, like, your grandparents. Like, it was not that long ago that we had World War I, World War II, and a ton of just horrific things happened on this planet. And that was like 1930s, 1940s, that there was a shitstorm going on just on the earth, and it hasn't really stopped. Like, humans are traumatized, and this is what we're healing right now. We're healing from the, like, fudged up stuff that our great grandparents went through. I know when I look back on my lineage, my direct lineage, my family is jacked up, dude. I mean, and I see it in all of the women in my family. Like, we all got problems, and I see a very similar kind of trait in all of us too. And I look back on, like, my dad's side of the family, and we come from Irish, Scottish descent, and then on my mom's side we have Russian descent and German descent. I mean, if you think about it, like that's trauma. That's all trauma. That is all hardship. And I mean, I can't even get into all of it right now, but if you just look back at your lineage, and you don't even have to look very far, you can see what's probably affecting you right now. And we talked about it before, that our DNA comes from our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. Like, we get the same DNA clones itself and gets passed down and passed down and passed down and passed down. And as far as science knows, that DNA doesn't change, and we can't change our DNA. However, I'm of the belief that we can change our DNA, which is what I'm studying in school, but, you know, that's not science. We haven't studied that, and there's not really any way that we can study that except for long-term experimentation. But it's more of just a sense of knowing, and I think Bridget can get on with that too. Like, there's just this sense of knowing that we are healing our cellular DNA, and that is what ascension is. It's like going deep, 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 deeper than that. Keep going, go deeper. We're going deep, y'all, and healing the stuff that is not all ours, but we're choosing to take it on because we're being of service to our ancestors and ourselves and our children and our children's children, and we're making a better life for this earth and Mama Gaia and the oceans and all of the animals on the planet and the energy that is on this planet, and we are healing it. You know, if you're a grid worker, you're going directly into that grid and healing it. And I feel like I am a grid worker. I feel like that is a part of my path. But that's why we think like, God, like, why is my life so hard? Well, because you've signed up for it. Like, I think that we choose the life that we want to choose, the parents that we want to choose, the life that we want to choose that's going to give us the best opportunity of healing. And I don't know, it's so interesting. It's so interesting.
Yeah. Amazing points. And it goes so deep, and there's so many different angles with this ascension and healing and, you know, integrating and embodying our truest essence, our true soul nature. And you know, for years I was always like, why would I choose this shit? Like, why would I sign up for this, you know? And I think a lot of us kind of have that because we've heard from, you know, a lot of spiritual teachings, like, you know, we do choose our path and we choose our families and all of this. And I do believe that to a certain degree, but I was listening to one of my favorite spiritual teachers. I talk about him all the time, Matt Kahn. I love him. But he was talking about in one of his recent lectures, how about that very subject of, you know, us being chosen to come down and do this intense work for the awakening of this planet and for the healing of our lineages and so on and so forth. But he also makes a really good point that it's not just that we choose. It's rather like we agree to do this work, but we are chosen to come down and to do this heavy work. It's like source energy, however you label that, God, source, universe, like we are souls having a human experience, and you know, we're all in different stages of our remembrance of our where we're at in our journey, and there's no comparison, there's no contraction. Everybody is exactly where they need to be, but it's like you were chosen to do this work because you are strong enough to move through it. Like the universe never gives us an experience that we cannot overcome. You know, like we were chosen for this work because we have the power and the strength and the endurance to move through it, but we have to choose to move through it. Like I lived so many years of my life in the mantra, walking in the mantra, ignorance is bliss. And I I believed that. I was like, yeah, like I'd rather just not know, you know, and I wasn't happy in my life, but it was easy. It was easier than it is now, because now I've made the choice to go through these things, because I've connected enough with my intuition and with my highest self to know that if I really want to like be what I came here to be and like allow my dreams to come into fruition and be that embodiment of my true soul light, then I have to go down this path. And it's the path that we are the most scared to go on. And it's like, and we have a choice. We have free will, you know? We don't have to do it, but I chose this path. I think it's like, you know, we're chosen to come down and be in this human form and have these experiences, but it's like our free will as humans that kind of gives us that choice to like either agree to this path or to say, you know what, I think I'm fine living in this state of kind of ignorance and just sweeping my stuff under the rug and, you know, just choosing to be blind to what's in front of me. So it's like in that sense, I feel like we definitely have a choice. But to me, and I've seen in my own experience that, I mean, because let me tell you, my life has just felt like one challenge after the next, after the next, after the next. But I've gotten to a point, and it doesn't, I wouldn't say it gets easier, but it, in a sense, it's like, it does get easier to navigate. Like, it's like driving down this windy road with all these different, you know, turns and no signs and whatever, and it's just confusing. But it's like once you've taken that path enough, you start to realize like, okay, I think I got this now. Like, I don't think I need my GPS. Like, it's still kind of confusing and what I'm still kind of uncertain, but like I think I got this. You know, it's like our confidence builds, our trust in ourself builds, and our trust in the universe builds, and we start to realize like, again, everything's here to help us. And we realize that we're not doing this alone. Like, we do have support. And I've been doing some really deep healing work in my life recently where I've been connecting in with my ancestors. And that just blew open a whole new world for me, because I started connecting with my ancestors who have crossed over. They're no longer in this physical body, but they're still very much alive. They're still very much here. And they're with me. They're with me, and they made that clear to me. Like, they're with me in this healing journey, and they're rooting for me, and they've got my back. And, like, it just really made me realize, like, I'm not doing this healing work alone. I've got the help of my ancestors, of these, you know, these beings who are no longer in this form, but they're there, and they're with me, and they're holding space for me. And, like, they want me to succeed, because this is the stuff I'm going through right now is stuff that they went through, and the stuff that their parents went through and their parents went through, whether it be mental health, whether it be physical, whatever it may be, you know, repeated patterns with relationships, however it has manifested. Like, this has been going on a long time. And like, I realized that I'm not doing it alone. And so even if you feel lonely in your physical life right now, know that you could never, ever be alone in this journey. You have such a huge team of love and guides and support who have your back, who are rooting for you, because they want to see change. You know, we want our future generations to not have to go through what we went through. And in this course I'm taking right now, we're talking about epigenetics and how, you know, epigenetics is showing that we do have the power to shift our DNA through, and not necessarily like change, like, how do I say this? So there's nature and there's nurture. And our nature is our genetics and everything that we receive, our DNA codes from our ancestors and so on. And then our nurture is, you know, how we were brought up, our surroundings, our parents, our love and support that we received as we were growing children and now, you know. But it's, this epigenetics is showing that if we right now can change our patterns consciously and put an end to these cycles of self-abuse, of addiction, of all of these things that we've been experiencing, if we can change that ourselves now, if we choose to create in the future and have children, while these things still might be in their DNA, we can almost silence some of these codes within our DNA. So if we can nurture and care for these children in the way that maybe we weren't cared for, then while they still might have this coding in their DNA, it's a lot more likely to be silenced. And from that, we do start to kind of shift our DNA, and there's still a lot of research to be done. And honestly, I don't know a whole lot about the subject to speak in depth about this. But I do believe that on a personal level, and I'm seeing it within myself as I'm doing the work that I am changing. I'm not like my parents, and I love my parents to death, but I'm not falling into their patterns that they're in still. I'm changing that, and I'm consciously choosing to end the cycle with me so that I do not repeat this for the children that come after me. So that was a lot. But yeah, I don't know even how that evolved, but I'm going to hand it to Mal to add on.
The universe, it speaks through us, I think, is why we have trouble sticking to a script.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, that's how it should be. Like, the information that comes through, like, whether we're like actively channeling or not, I think we're always channeling at some level. And then especially like when we open up the space to talk about things like this information wants to come through. Like, So while we're on the topic of DNA, so I'm studying DNA right now in my biology class, Intro to Bio, and I am loving it. There's like this intuitional thing that I'm like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be studying. This is what I want to do. I am like jazzed up about DNA. But you're exactly right there, because I keep asking my teacher about things like, wait, so the healthier we become, the healthier the DNA that we're going to give to our kids. And she's like, not exactly. We can't, as far as we know, change our DNA. There are researchers like CRISPR that can go in and like alter the DNA and like take out, bad DNA and replace it with good DNA. So if there's like a mutation that is causing some sort of like genetic disease, like the most common one they talk about is like sickle cell anemia, they can go in and like essentially like clip it out and replace it with a better code. So if it's like an A sequence that needs to be a T, they'll replace the A with a T or whatever. I mean, that's really putting it in like layman's terms, but that's essentially what's being done. But like, I believe that we can do this ourselves through food, through, like you said, nurture, but I think it's going to be like an evolutionary thing, and changing the sequencing of what is being created. So like DNA, there's the strand of DNA and it makes RNA, and the RNA is what is creating the proteins that then get turned into, a ton of different things that are going on in your body. But without getting too far into it, because it's such like a deep and heady kind of topic that we still don't know that much about, but if we can change the sequence of codes, so instead of like ACGT, it can be like whatever other sequence of number that will be, or sequence of letters that will create a better amino acid or whatever. And that's just how it's working and how it's making sense in my brain. But that's just a theory. There's absolutely no evidence to back that up, which it's soon to come, I think. But like we are evolutionary beings. We have evolved to an extremely advanced species now, and we're going to keep evolving and evolving and evolving, and hopefully for the betterment of ourselves. But we still have a lot we're going through and a lot we're evolving from. And that upgrade takes work. It's like upgrading a computer, or like if you upgrade your iPhone, for example, like, okay, time to update, and it takes like hours, and like sometimes it doesn't go through because you don't have enough data and you have to like go and delete all your pictures or whatever. That's essentially like the same thing that's happening to us. Is like we have to go in and like delete old behaviors and old people out of our lives, and it's an upgrade. We're changing. We're literally changing our, down to our physical appearance. We're changing. Yeah, I don't know. Tangent.
Yes, we are changing on a massive scale right now, and we are at a point in history where literally anything is possible, anything. And it's like, it's taking us into such a state of deep surrender, unlike anything we've ever experienced before, because, you know, we fear change. I mean, so many of us do. Like, I'm at the point in my path where it excites me, but it still scares me, you know? But it's like, to be on this path, you have to be willing to change. And that's, for so many people, scary. And a lot of people aren't ready for that. And, you know, that's okay. And again, that's where we have our free will to say, you know, I'm not ready to go there yet. I'm not ready to dive that deep. And that's okay, because we're going to get there eventually. And it might not be this lifetime. And that's fine. But, you know, for those of us who are choosing to face the shadows and the darkness and really like study it, dissect it, go deep into it, it's like, that's where these miracles happen. That's where, you know, this spontaneous change, or, you know, that which we've been hoping for manifests or whatever. But it's like, and it can take time, a lot of time. And that's, you know, it's part of it. But it's like, the change and the transformation that is happening through all of this is, to me, so worth it. Because while I'm going to be honest, today I'm having a day, I'm exhausted. I'm just fucking tired. And I'm like, you know, like, I'm feeling challenged in life. But at the same time, I'm okay. Like, I feel like really okay with what I'm experiencing, what I've been experiencing today, emotionally, physically, energetically, and just being like, I'm okay with this, because I've been here so many times, and it's not phasing me as much as it has in the past, because I've built up enough strength and endurance to move through this with like an open heart, knowing that this is exactly what needs to be happening, that everything is shifting right here, right now, around me, within me, on a molecular, cellular level, just by me showing up to these emotions and saying I'm here for it and my heart is open, even though it kind of sucks. And it's okay to say it sucks, because, again, it's like us acting like everything is gung-ho and like trying to remain positive and all of that. Like, yeah, that's good, but it's like, but is that spiritually bypassing what's happening? Like, part of this is facing and being okay with these challenges, and just saying, like, I'm doing it, I'm going through it, because I want to change. Like, this thing that I've been going through for my whole life with these patterns and these situations and all of these repeated cycles, it hasn't been working for me. In fact, it's just kept me in this like hamster wheel of events. And it's like, I think once you get to that point of being like, it almost becomes like more uncomfortable to stay in that tight knit like hamster wheel of patterns than it takes for you to just break out of it and free yourself, because nobody's going to free us but us. Like, we have to do that work. But again, it's like, we have to be willing to change, and because it's going to happen. Like, that's just it. Like, we didn't come here to stay stagnant, and nothing is stagnant. It's always in motion. And so yeah, I'm kind of just in my head right now thinking, like, we were talking
about our shit storms and everything at the beginning, and I don't even know where my brain has wandered off to now, but
we're still on shit storms.
Okay. But yeah, like, all that to say, like, it's all good, and it's like there's a calm after every storm, and I notice that every day that is turbulent for me, it's always followed by some, like, extreme clarity and precision and direction and intuitive hunches and signs and, like, encouragement to continue along my path. So it's like, while I might have 2 or 3 really intense days, light always follows, and it always follows stronger than it came before. And, like, that in itself is enough for me to just say, I'm going to keep doing this and, like, feel excited about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, the less that we resist, because, like, that's, like, really what it boils down to, I think, like, is just, like, resistance, and, like, the more that we can just let go and just kind of be with what's happening, which is hard. It takes practice. Like, none of the stuff that we're saying, like, Bridget and I are not experts at this by any means. Like, we still have days, but the resistance is less and less and less. The more times that you've been through the storm, you're just kind of like, all right, like, let's just do it again. Like, we're going to get that lesson this time. And I think, like, resistance, learning how to just be more, like, resilient just comes with time. And resistance can look different depending on the situation that you're going through. I know, like, I see myself doing, like, resistant things all the time. And I'm like, oh, wait, this is resistance? And it's it's a very, like, unique thing, and it's a unique thing to every person because it kind of looks different. And you're like, oh, I see what I'm doing here. Okay, interesting. Kind of look at it like you're a little scientist, like, studying yourself. Like, for me, that's, like, what really helps me is, like, analyzing, but, like, I'm a very analytical person in that, like, I like to study the situation. Like, I literally, like, I have, like, a narrative kind of going on in my head. Okay, like, what's going on now? How am I reacting to this? What am I doing for this? How did I do this thing in the past? And what can I learn from that thing in the past? You know, this might be a little bit off subject, but I'm feeling inclined to, like, tell you a story about just, like, a very simple conversation that I had the other day with someone new that I've been hanging out with, a guy. But we were talking about just life, and I kept talking about my past, like, because that's something that's very important to me right now, as, like, a part of my past is looking towards the past and learning from it and kind of analyzing what happened and why I am here. I think looking towards the past can give us a ton of information, but I think a lot of people are kind of scared to look at the past. Like, we're taught that, like, looking at the past and being in the past is a bad thing, and it definitely can be, like, if we get stuck there and ruminate and dwell and stay put in the situation that kind of brought us down or whatever it was. But if we look towards the past, we can learn a ton about ourselves. You know, why am I the way that I am? Well, let's look back at my past and analyze what happened. And I just thought it was, like, very interesting because he was like, you seem to be stuck in the past, or like, you seem to be very focused on your past. And it took me aback a little bit because I felt almost like, a little bit like he was not judging me for it, but I was just like, oh, I mean, I didn't realize that was a bad thing, and it's not. And I've been kind of like going over it in my mind, like, why did it trigger me so much? And it's because that's such a bypassy thing. And I hate spiritual bypassing. I really do, because I did it for a long time. And when other people do it, I see it doesn't fix anything. It keeps us blind to our behaviors and our systems that we're trying to get rid of. Like, if we just let a computer, like, you know, run a faulty system for so long, like, it's going to crash. And we can pretend it's not there, and like, we can pretend like, oh, like, my computer is just slow, that's just how it is. Like, well, your computer could probably be really fast. You could probably, you know, potentially like have a better life and stop like living out your triggers and just be more whole. Like, I think the essence of like what we're trying to get to here is like how to be whole. Like, we don't have to be positive all the time. We don't have to be perfect all the time. Like, we can own our storm, and we can own the stuff that we're going through. And that is the beauty of life, is that we just go through stuff and then we learn the lesson. It's like a video game. Like, you're going through all these lessons, and then you eventually get to the princess, but then you and the princess have to go on a mission. And like, that's just the fun thing about life. And if we can make it like a game and make it fun, we can still be serious about it too. Because healing is serious work. And like, you know, I don't think it has to be like a joke or a game, but if we just put kind of like a spin on it, like, that gives us like a sense of purpose about it, I think it can like really help with getting through the quote unquote struggle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I totally go off tangent?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so. No. But yeah, you know, if I've learned anything, it's that, you know, we're all healing from something. We're all on a healing journey, and it's showing up to it. And if I've learned anything in my healing journey, it's that the journey of this healing is not linear. It is, I like to think of it like a spiral. You know, things keep coming back around again and again and again for us to show up and to learn the lesson. And each time it circles back around, it's just taking us closer and closer to the center, to the core of what we are. And so it's like we're getting closer each time around, even if it feels like we're in this pattern that has been repeating and it feels like we're moving backwards. It's like, no, you can never move backwards. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, we're always moving forward, and we always have choices. But it's like, even if we've repeated this lesson like 12 times, we're going to learn a new angle with it. We're gonna dissect something different. We're gonna meet a new character. Something is gonna come out of it that's gonna take us deeper and deeper into our journey and our transformation and our remembrance of what we really are, which is magic and beauty and joy. And we're just getting closer and closer every time. And so I just want to, with all of my heart, thank you all for listening to this and for showing up to your healing and to this path, because I know if you're listening to this, you're definitely on your path, and you're probably in the depths of it, as Mallory and I are, and we're all in this together, you know, and we're all just figuring it out day by day, moment by moment. We're all teaching each other, and a lot of the reason Mallory and I have these conversations is to help us understand our path better and what we're going through, and to help us process everything that is happening in our own lives. So we're by no means experts on this, but we do realize that we're helping each other. All of us, you guys are helping us, and we're helping you to get closer to that core of our spiral and our center. So thank you so much for showing up to yourself and for showing up to this path, because it's not easy work, but it is a beautiful journey, and it's taking us beyond anything we can imagine, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yes, I'm so excited too. I mean, it's going to be amazing. It is amazing right now, but the future is unfolding in like the coolest way, and like, I mean, every day it's just like something new. It's like, oh, Awesome. Okay. And like when y'all do your healing work, and when Bridget does her healing work, and when I do my healing work, we make it easier for each other. And it's like Ram Dass says it best, we're all just walking each other home. So it's not a competition, it's unity. And while we are all like autonomous individual beings, like having our own individual experience, we still need other people on our path. And you're never alone, like never ever alone. And if you think you're alone, just go on YouTube and find your tribe, because I guarantee it's there. I mean, Bridget and I are here. There are plenty of people. I mean, I thank God for the internet. I thank God for YouTube. Like, I would have felt so alone. I swear. I was already feeling alone, but I would have felt like a freak show, which, sorry if that's, a little bit triggering language, but like, I did. I felt like I was like crazy or something, like, why can't I fit in anywhere or whatever? And it's like, your life will unfold for you. And if you're going through a really hard moment right now, like, just know that your life is unfolding the way it's meant to be, whether it feels that way or not. Like, I promise you that if you just trust and you hold tight and you hold, the best that you can to yourself, and just love yourself, even if you think that no one else loves you. Like, I love you, Bridget loves you, and you're doing the work, and you're not alone in it, even if you feel alone, which I feel you on that, because that's really, really, really hard, is feeling alone. But I promise you there is light, and just hold true to trusting that, and pray to whoever you want. Pray to your higher self, pray to your ancestors, pray to God, pray to the universe, whatever it is. Like, you'll find the answers. The answers will be shown to you, but they'll come. And yeah, now I'm just like kind of preaching, but but good episode tonight.
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening, for tuning in, and we so appreciate you, and we love you. And
yes.
Hang in there, and feel free at any time to reach out to Mal or myself. We are on social media. You can leave a comment below on our YouTube channel, and so don't hesitate to reach out with questions, comments, feedback. We love to hear it.
Yeah, and we want to hear your story too. So if you want to, share, I'm sure someone else wants to hear your story too. So yeah, definitely comment, like, subscribe if you want. I know y'all know how to do that. And B and I will see you on the next one, and we're looking forward to it.
Bye.
Bye. All right, I'm going to hang up and call you normally.
Okay, bye.